Uh, my name is Margaret Ann Windsor, and I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace in 41. I was brought to Moulton, Alabama, in USA, and given the name of a deceased twin. Both twins were dead. Peggy and Dipsy Childers was my married name. Their mother, the mother of the twins, had murdered them. She was unwed at the time. Well, she was unwed all the time. But the point is, it was a horrible family that I grew up in, and I found out in '83 after I had been a candidate in a political campaign that my father's the real King Edward VIII, and my name is really Margaret Ann Windsor, Victoria II, and I'm the legal heir to the British Crown, not George, who became illegal George VI, and Elizabeth, who actually work for the American government. They've given everything away, allowed the United States to put its military bases all over British soil. So the Brits now control us. They also, enough was never enough. The Americans stole the colonies. They called it a revolution. If someone did that to them, they're terrorists and murderers and thieves. Just look at the North-South. It wasn't enough to do all that, though, to the Brits. They stole me, the real monarch, and inserted their own monarch, Elizabeth, and her father, George. And they stole just about everything we have. The colonies are now controlled by the United States, really. Most of them are gone, let me put it that way. Now then, the reason I wanted to add this, I'm in bad health, and that is a good excuse today, the ice outside and the fact that I'm in bad health. So I hope you'll bear with me here. I want to say this about my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. My mom was legally wed to my dad, King Edward VIII. The whole thing about Wallace Simpson was a lie. She married an imposter that pretended to be my father, and they've gotten away with it. The New World Order, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, my uncle, George, illegal monarch, and you've got Joe Kennedy, who was ambassador, helped on my kidnapping, and President Roosevelt. So you got a whole slew of people. My mother was a commoner, Catholic, and Irish American. So it wasn't the British people that disapproved. Anyway, this is part of, and my father was an honest and good man. And as it stands in history, there's nothing but a string of lies about him. Nothing about it is true. It doesn't even mention me. Nothing. Doesn't mention my mom. So America's always good to, I'm going to use this word, flaunt. Okay? And I have nothing against Grace Kelly, Princess Grace Kelly in Monaco. By the way, she was killed. She was one of the mind control murders. They gave me antifreeze and tried to kill me April Fool's Day of '80. I was across the state line, worked for the district attorney, Fred Simpson, and was living at Moonraker in Warren House. And Warren is like associated with the Warren Commission, Kennedy, which if they told the truth would lead to my kidnapping, and they can't have that and the torture they've done to us. And Simpson was associated with Wallace Simpson, who married an imposter, really. Nothing to do with my dad. It was all a takedown. So I've lost it a little bit here. I was saying that Grace Kelly's death was a mind control murder. But my point also was that the United States was, when she married, she became a princess of Monaco. Every magazine had pictures of her. All the Americans were so proud and all this, and they don't even mention my mom and the pain and suffering that my mom and dad had to go through when they lost me, and his own brother and part of his family took him down with nothing but lies. He lost his country, everything. Now then, the other thing was today that I'm listening this morning on the news, President Obama. Uh, he was talking about, he was given an award to Shirley MacLaine, and I believe that's how it was, in Kennedy Center. And he said when he did it, he said, one of the first things they asked me as a president is what's going on at Area 51. Well, joke it may be, but it's a good question. Area 51, is he speaking of the one that's not supposed to be out in Nevada? Or is he speaking of the one that's not supposed to be in Australia? Because it's not supposed to be in Australia. This is part of what Elizabeth and her father did. It was illegal, but they signed treaties that allowed the United States to put its military all over everything British. The United States is not supposed to have any military there, much less what are they doing with the Area 51 in Australia. So this is what they've done. They've taken over Great Britain. They stole the colonies in the beginning. That wasn't enough. They took down my father, and they put their military bases all over everything British. They kidnapped the real monarch, me, and brought me over here and have tortured the hell out of me every breath I've ever taken, and my kids. So they've gotten away with murder, and now they're on a daily basis. They're terrorists. And now then, Jimmy Carter, Bush, Bill Clinton, all of these people are going over to South Africa because of the death of Mandela. I've never had any civil rights, period. They do not want to show what they've done to me. And I want to say this is, South Africa was a colony, a British colony. And by the way, there's diamond mines, there's oil. The United States' real purpose, and they're the ones that went in there and caused all the problems. They really are. As I've said in the previous tape, or tried to put in there, President Carter made Reverend Andrew Young, ambassador to the UN. And he gathered up with a lot of organizations, let me put it that way, and put money and an industry into South Africa, which on the surface looks good. Nobody questions it. They're too happy to have it. In other words, they went in and underhandedly overthrew, and you got to make somebody look bad to make yourself look good. So they went in and they successfully took down the British government there. I've never signed anything to give away anything British. So it's illegal, but they've done it. And everybody's over there. And not one of the presidents, none of them, even when Elizabeth was paid to come over here in '07, was during the murders, the mass murders at Virginia Tech, which are mind control, which I've told about. They're done in patterns, and there's a lot of others. But she went right through here, and she was paid to come to Virginia. And I'm living on the Appalachian Trail, up in the mountains, freezing, starving, and I'm the real monarch, and she's giving my money away to charity. Charity's a good thing, but hey, it's my money, and I'm a pauper. And she's running around, and people loving her, and she's responsible for giving away South Africa.